their program, how it works.
Okay. At the high school, we have 5 learning support teachers currently, and those teachers, because they have the 5-period day plus MMA, Mid-Morning Academy, what happens is typically those teachers will teach, they will instruct learning support students who have that in their IEP. So for example, if they need to be in a small group setting for instruction for ELA or math, we have teachers who are certified to teach those classes for those students. So a typical day for a learning support teacher might be teaching first period, say, ELA 9 or English 9. Then they might be in a co-taught class, so they are co-teaching with a regular education teacher for a classroom that might have both regular education and special education students. Third period might be prep. Then you've got MMA, which is a mid-morning academy. What that looks like, it's a 30-minute period during the day. And that period is used to 3 days out of the week, used to meet with students that they might not see in class. Then they might have a 4th period where they're doing direct instruction. Again, they are the teacher of record for that group of students, and 5th period would be a co-taught class. So they have a full schedule the entire day. Now, what that means, though, is because what our high school teachers do is they follow their students. So when they get them as 9th graders, they follow them through their senior year. And so most of their students, I should say, on their roster, they do not see during the day. So part of their responsibility then is to take their 18 to 20 students that they have on their roster, and they look at the 20 schedules that each of the student, the student each has their own individual schedule. They have to coordinate then with the regular education teachers, make sure that they are doing well in their classes, that accommodations are being made, that goals are being met, communicating with parents, those kinds of things. So that's the day in the life of a special education teacher at the high school. And then middle school, they don't have a block schedule, but we have 2 learning support teachers per grade level there. They typically, each of them teaches a replacement class, again, a classroom for learning support students. Then they spend the other times during the day, they are co-teaching, again, very similar to the high school, or they are providing direct support where the students are coming back into their learning support classrooms for direct instruction and skill deficits.
So I know that their education follows their IEP. Mm-hmm. So at the high school, the teacher is responsible for, say, this one child mm-hmm. from 9th to 12th grade mm-hmm. in every subject that child takes.
They're responsible for the goals in their IEP. I would say that every teacher is responsible for every student. So therefore they coordinate, they work with those teachers. But the actual delivery of instruction they're not responsible for all students, but they are responsible for the coordination of all that, yes.
So they have to make sure they meet their goals.
Absolutely.
And they're responsible for that.
Well, all the teachers are.
Yeah, and I get that, but
there's rosters, and there's 27 to 28 students
enrolled in VOTEC, and they have to follow their IEP, et cetera.
Yes,
et cetera.
They do.
And that's why it costs. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Sure.
Couple questions. Let's go to the SRO issue. I don't know how many of you feel about it, but my answer to this is very simply. It is, I don't need a cop in a school district when I have 2 vice principals in a building. We have an entire police barracks 1 mile down the road. If you get an active shooter in the school at this point, you're going to clear that building and get them up there. That's what's going to happen. My issue comes with the idea of this. I'm ex-military. My kids have gone to schools all over the world. And what I'm getting at is the school board needs to back whichever vice principal, if you will, who's put in charge of discipline, i.e. detention, suspension, expulsion. Point blank. Parents have a fit with that? Guess what? Johnny's going to do what Johnny's supposed to do. Don't care. I also spent 10 years working inside of a federal prison, so my answers to, oh gee, let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya, they're not there.
Mr. Wolverton, could you pull your mic in front of you?
Okay. Thanks. Like I said, I worked 10 years in a federal prison, so the idea of holding somebody's hand, these kids know right from wrong, bottom line. And it's not, I see too many layers of, oh gee, we need a principal, we need 2 vice principals, guidance counselors, police, that type of thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but all of these buildings are locked, correct? So nobody's supposed to be able to get into these buildings unless they're authorized to get in the building and given access to the building. This is $260,000 for 2 police officers is a big budget issue to me. And, it's just like the idea of 2 vice principals. I don't know. Do we have guidance counselors still?
We do,
Okay.
at every building.
All right. And it's that type of thing. It's just an issue that I feel needs to be taken and looked at. And there's no doubt, to me, in a way, you have to have a principal in every elementary school, but do we need a dean of students in each one, or do we just need 2 to cover each, 2 schools? Something of that nature. We need to make some serious budget cuts and personnel cuts. That's all there is to it here. And we need to take a look at this stuff. It's just an issue that I wanted to address with you guys. But, let me just again say, for those people who are you're in the administration of these schools, yeah, my kids went to some pretty rough schools throughout the world. And the bottom line is, when you back those principals and stuff of that nature, it is the idea that the parents fall in line, and so does Johnny after a while. He figures out that, gee, staying and riding the sports bus home for 30 days straight is not a whole lot of fun, So.
The extreme cuts from this packet, from yourself, I don't necessarily agree with it. I was elected to do the best job I can do for the school district. That's not slashing programs. That's not furloughing teachers. I'm not saying we can't do cuts, but there's a point where we're actually doing more harm than good.